So, okay. So here I am in Photopea. I'm going to show a couple of advanced steps. First of all, we by now know how to mask images with brushes. We know how to mask images, and we know how to clean up images. So there's a lot of things we're kind of building up and understanding on how to do masking. And the first thing we always teach in Photoshop is masking for this reason. So let me see if I can close these ads so they're not distracting. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is click on an image. I'm going to open up an image or that I can find. Let's see if I can find a photo or a downloaded image that would work. Let's say field. I'm going to use this field here. Open. Okay, so I'm going to grab this image by hitting Command or Control A. Command or Control C. I'm going to take it over to my 8.5 by 11 at 300 resolution document. This is the photo resolution. So when I hit Command V, it might end up being a little smaller because that image might not be photo size, and that's okay. All right, so I'm going to turn that layer off for right now, and I'm going to pull it below my type layer. Okay. And I have a type layer right here. Let's see, there I have another one. Okay, so I'm going to type in M. I'm just going to hit Command or Control A, Shift and Command, and Option, or sorry, Shift, Control, and Option at the same time, and tap my right. That's not working. I was hoping I could make it bigger. That's not working for me, so I'm just going to hit Command A, M, and drag it up like that. Okay. So I'm going to take that word. There we go. Make it big. Now, what did we learn about what fonts we should use next in doing the mask through? What did I tell you all about that? Somebody?
A font that is thick.
Tegan? Did I have my phone? I think I might have been on mute. Tegan, did you hear me?
Yeah, I did hear you, but I don't remember what you said, but I know you were talking about like defonts.com.
Yeah, I did. I brought up defonts.com for alternate fonts that you can click and download. That's in the other video. I'm going to hold off on that on this one. What I'm going to do is use I'm going to use a thin weight or a thick weight font.
A thick one.
Yeah, good. So I'm going to click on this one right here. This font looks pretty good. I got it. I'm going to move it. And then if I hold down Command if I Command click on the layer, it opens up magic ants going around the item. So I can turn that off. And I have 2 layers here by accident, so I'm going to delete that old layer at the top. So I have this magic ants going around, and I can click back on my layer here, the image layer. I can actually call that image, double clicking on it and type it. And then if I click mask, nothing happens. So let's go back real quick. So I have the image here. Oh, it's because I didn't have the eyeball. And let's see, I'm going to click mask. There we go. The image comes through. Okay. So does everybody text yes if you understand how to do that and that works for you and you get an idea?
The video that you assigned on Google Classroom, like that, explained it really well. Like I did it. It's not that good, but I did it.
Heck yeah. All right. I'm glad that worked. Thank you for giving me that feedback. All right. So I'm counting the yeses here of the people who understand how to do it. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8, 9, 10. Joseph, I got to make sure I change the attendance. Don't leave today until I change the attendance. I might have taken it when you weren't here. I can't remember. 9, 10, 11. So we got 11 people that know how to do it. 12. Want to get, this is kind of like a thumbs up if you know how to do it. You know how to, thumbs up if you know how to get to this step. If you don't, just say no, and that's okay. Tobin said no, I got it. All right. Tobin, I'm going, let's see if there's any other no's. How do I select it? Okay, so you want to command click on the text layer to make the selection, right? So I held down Command or Control and I clicked on the text layer. And then I turned that layer off. And then I click on my background image layer, and then I click the mask button. And since we're recording this, you can go back and watch the video and have that as a reference. I'm going to go to the next step, and then Tobin, I'm going to work with you one-on-one at the end. Just watch what I do and try to write down some steps or just reference what I do. At the top here, y'all, my ruler, if I control click, last time I was making a video, I kept on trying to control click and it wouldn't change. I realized that this Pixie set sometimes doesn't really do a great job, but I saw a second ago where I just was able to change the unit of measurement. There it is. I'm going to change it to inches. So now I have 8.5 inches. Maybe I just needed to click on the other one. I can also click and hold down on the ruler and pull a guideline. Guidelines are huge and crucial for setting type all on the same line. So I'm pretty good on that. That looks good. The next thing I'm going to do with this first letter is this is the next level of technology. So you know how to mask through letters, you know how to mask through shapes, you know how to mask on your own. Now we're going to change the color of this right here. So I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to, on that new layer, I'm going to give it a solid color fill, which means I'm going to go right here to my layer adjustment panel and give it a new adjustment. And that new adjustment is going to be a solid color fill. Now, based off of what I've taught you about blend modes, I don't know, did we go over blend modes? Somebody auditorily say yes or no. Did we go over these things right here?
We did a little bit.
A little bit, right? So I know that I could do a couple of things. I know that if I change that blend mode to color, it's going to color tint the photo, right? But unfortunately, if I had another image down here, it would also be color tinting that. And I can prove that to you by simply hitting Command V and putting this photo directly below it. And let's see. Let me see if I turn that off. Sometimes it will, well, it's not doing it there, but it will color tint things on down. Now what I'm going to do is to make sure that, I'm going to delete that real quick. If you have a big file and you're working on a bunch of things, it won't. Just trust me on what I said, that it will affect, this color tint would affect anything going below it. Okay? It certainly would do that in Photoshop. Maybe Photopea has some kind of kink. I'm going to hold down Option. I'm going to click on first, but I'm lift up on Option. I'm going to click on Layer 1, and I'm going to hold down. I'm going to look for a little down arrow. There it goes. So there, okay. I'm holding down Option. I'm clicking, and this down arrow happens. I'm going to go back here, hold down Option, click right here, and you're going to see the red is going into the picture. So that means that that little subset thing is happening just to this image right here. It won't do it to anything underneath it. And that's kind of what I want. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do, now let's do that again so everybody sees that. Okay? I'm going to do that one more time. So we got that image. We got this color text we have here. Oh, and if we move it around, we have some problems. So let's see. I can't move it around. I don't want to move it. I don't want to do anything to move it. So I'm going to prevent that from moving around, let's go back. We'll talk about that in a second. So I'm going to delete. Let's see if I can. I'm going to delete the layer mask. Okay, here we are. I'm going to click on, I'm going to click a new layer, put it on top, right? Color fill. Change the blend mode to color and hold down Option. I'm going to hold down Option and click in this area right here. And this little down arrow means it's just going to affect the layer below it, nothing else. Okay, so that's what we're trying to achieve. Now, the next step of what I'm going to show you is how to move forward and prevent any of this from moving. Because if I click right now on click away and I get my move tool and I click on this, a second ago we saw all this stuff was moving. I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to put all this stuff. Let me go command minus. Let me get my layer panel to pop up. There you go. I'm going to select both of these layers. I'm going to put them in a folder. Okay. So now, if I uncheck auto select, I can move the whole thing. It's all in a folder, and I can call that folder first letter. And I'm starting to now organize my stuff the way I like it. Okay. So I got first letter. Move it to where I want. Hey, if I like that first letter, why don't I give that first letter an effect? I can go over here now. Let's give it a drop shadow. And boom. By default, it will give you simple settings for a drop shadow. You can adjust this, but be careful. You want to make it look a little realistic. That obviously is not going to go realistic, right? So I might almost leave it back to where it was originally. So I'm going to pull it back right here. That looks pretty good. I could give it inner shadow if I wanted. I can click this right here. I can adjust the distance of the inner shadow. But make sure you're on the little grayed out tab for that. Okay? That doesn't look very real. Maybe if I drop the opacity. Now it kind of looks like it's sunken in on the thing. I'm going to uncheck the inner shadow. I'm going to leave that drop shadow on there. So not only we've color tinted, we've brought letter through type, we've achieved the pretty much almost everything you can do with a mask. Are there any questions on how I might create the next thing? Any questions?
I have a question on how you like group it together so you can move the letter like the way it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. What's your question?
That was the question. I just didn't know how to do that.
Oh, how to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna see if I can get rid. See, I can see this layer here. I want to see if I can. Let me go back a couple of steps. Okay, so I have all this stuff done to this one thing right here, right? So if I turn off the things that I really care about, I have nothing, but I have them selected. I'm going to click on the top layer. I'm going to hold down Shift and click on the next layer. Okay, both of those things being selected, I can then click the little folder icon, which is down here. That's going to group all that stuff together. Photoshop doesn't have a way of grouping that. They use folders to group things together. So now I don't have auto select selected. And if I did, I think it wouldn't let you necessarily move anything. So I'm going to uncheck auto select, and now I can move it. Are there any other questions?
How do I make my text the right size?
Good question. So here, what we did is we used the text. The one problem about this technique is that you can't go back and re-edit your type size. You could, I can't say for instance, I'm like, I want to go ahead and change the word to a B instead of an M. Can't really do that with this method here. So there's a little bit of a limitation. I'll show you another way that makes it a little bit more editable down the road. But in this case, to answer your question, Taylor, what I'm going to do is I have that layer selected. I'm going to go to Edit, Scale, Edit, Transform, Scale. Okay. And I'm going to hold down Shift as I drag the letter up. Okay. And then hit return. And then after I hit return, I've set it in stone. Are there any other questions? All right. So y'all understand that, everybody? Okay. All right. I'm going to kill the recording and show me, if you could,